Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Joey Donofrio. He is a serial entrepreneur. He is a founder of a training academy for home inspectors. He's several other things. So we'll be talking to him about several things in this regard. Welcome to the show, Joey.
Thank you, AJ. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on.
You are welcome to the show, Joey. You are welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will understand, will be happy to understand, will benefit from what we'll be talking about. We'll talk about entrepreneurship, we'll talk about mindset, and a few other things. So, my first question to you, Joey, you are a serial entrepreneur now, but you were at a time college baseball player. To help us understand what made that mindset turn you into an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur at that. So I want to understand a bit about your journey, a bit about your mindset then, and a bit about your mindset now.
Well, that's a great question. So I played college baseball for a nationally ranked program. And I always tell people, I went to college for baseball, and I got an education second. But what I didn't realize I was learning when I was in college and playing baseball was leadership. We were learning about, we had captains on the baseball team, then each class had a class representative. And the seniors, because of the way it works in the United States with baseball and the NCAA, is we have a limited amount of time we can practice before a season with a coach. So they regulate people by how often they can practice because, some areas are warmer than others. And so we had to have a lot of senior-led practices. So we had to have leadership instilled throughout our classes to be a successful program. So I didn't realize at the time, but we were learning about leadership, which directly applies to building a business, entrepreneurship, and success in life. And the classes I was taking in college were read a textbook, study material. And there was really, some classes had some real life application, but for the most part, those weren't the norm. And so I learned a lot about leadership and the mindset of being successful through the sport of baseball and the successful program that the coach built. And it wasn't until later on, I was in my early 20s and I was reading a John Maxwell book on leadership. I think it was The 5 Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. And I'm going through it and I'm like, oh my goodness, this was my baseball program. My coach understood how it trickled down through a team or an organization. And it was so valuable. So that's how I was able to transition from baseball to the business world and building out a team in a couple different businesses for sure.
Absolutely, Joey. A lot of people play baseball.
Yep.
A lot of people play other sports, but not everyone becomes an entrepreneur.
No.
Many people go the wrong side also. So, what is it that you picked up right from your baseball days and put that into entrepreneurship? Because you could have gone in any direction. So, I want to understand. And secondly, how did you decide on your direction to take? It's easy to see things when you are successful.
Yeah.
But when you are looking forward, a lot of hurdles have to be crossed. So help us understand your mindset while in college and then looking towards your forward journey. Did you think about entrepreneurship at that point in time? Did you look at other things? And how did entrepreneurship come into your life?
Well, entrepreneurship when I was in college was like a new thing, right? And I remember we got to go, there was extra credit because I was a business major. My focus was in finance, minor in economics. So they were trying to get kids to start focusing in on entrepreneurship and started offering classes in entrepreneurship. Now, full disclosure, I didn't take any of those classes, but when one of the assignments was for extra credit, we could go listen to business owners speak. And it was like a 3-week series where business owners would come in and talk about building a business. And so I went to get the extra credit at nights, from like 7, 8 p.m. And I went and I listened to these business owners. And I think it was then that really sparked my interest in running your own business, and kind of diving into that entrepreneurship field. And, one of the things that I will tell people who are interested in building a business, starting a business, maybe unleashing a product that they want to deliver to somebody is you have to be used to failure, and you have to understand that that's a part of it. You have to be willing to fail. You have to be willing to adapt and adjust. And going back to the college baseball is a sport of failure. The best hitters in baseball get out seven out of 10 times. And those are Hall of Famers. So you got to get used. And I think, being in that, going through the lulls of a college season or of a baseball season, you're used to failing and getting up and doing it again, and keep grinding. And I think that's one of the valuable skills of entrepreneurship, especially today, because today we live in a land of instant gratification, social media. If it doesn't work right away, it must not work. And that's just not real. And I think that's the lie we've been told is, oh yeah, you can get rich quick. Things can happen instantly because we see it on social media quickly happening for somebody, but we don't see the hard work that it took to get there, the rejection and the failure. So adjusting, getting used to failure, understanding that it's a part of the game, that there's no such thing as a get rich quick scheme. There's no such thing as quick success. It takes time. It takes consistent effort and showing up every day and doing it in and day out, and really understanding that it's a journey and falling in love with what are the daily habits. And this is one thing that I drive home now, especially more than ever. What are the daily habits to get to that end result? And you have to be willing to do those every single day and say no to a lot of different things that may come your way. And that's ultimately what will help you be successful.
Right. And how did you choose your businesses in terms of, uh, you were doing two business podcasts. You were into real estate, an educator. So many things at the same time. Where did you get your success in terms of as an entrepreneur? How did you drive that success, or let achieve that success to create more businesses, two companies, seven-figure levels, John and Associates, and Pair Payments. Tell us a bit about your businesses, how you started them, and then scaled them so that you can call it a success.
Yeah, well, I got involved in the real estate space doing property inspections right out of college. My dad was a property inspector, so I got involved in that. And what drove the success was doing the work every single day, knowing that I wanted to do something bigger with my life. Number one, through college, through the entrepreneurship class, I always envisioned something bigger. But it wasn't until I was preached at through a network marketing company about personal growth and personal development. I was working very hard right out of college, 6, 7 days a week, grinding, doing a job that I really didn't enjoy the day in and day out of it, to be honest with you. I always wanted to do something business related. And my buddy basically said, hey, I got this network marketing company. Do you want it? And it can free up your time. So what that led to was reading successful the personal development books, reading business books, reading John Maxwell. And that ultimately led to say, oh my gosh, I have something here. I have a license in doing property inspections. I can grow this business. And then that led to the training academy, where we teach home inspectors or licensed home inspectors in the state of Virginia and Maryland. And then it led to me going to conferences and meeting two other people that were in the merchant processing business and getting involved in them because they saw what I had done with the property inspection business and growing that business. and they wanted to partner up with me to help grow, one, introduce them to other inspectors, but two, also partner up and help them grow their business. And so it's really about the people. And it's about, having a growth mindset. Mindset is everything. And the only way to grow your mindset is to, what information are you putting in your brain? Right. And a lot of us, we watch, the majority of people watch junk TV. They put, bullshit through social media in their minds. They're not really learning a new task or developing themselves. And that's key. If you want to grow your business, you have to be willing to grow yourself. And it's a daily thing, right? Like the Super Bowl was yesterday for me. And during halftime, I went upstairs and I started reading. I read, and I missed most of the third quarter because I was reading. I was like, you know what? This is great. Like I got my little fix in, I'm going to go read and do something productive. And I read a book. I read part of a book. So it's doing those things and making those things a habit that's really going to drive your success and keep you moving forward. I think the biggest mistake for some is when they start growing and they see a little bit of success, they think that they feel like, oh, now I can stop doing some of these things that help get me there. And when you stop growing, your business will stop growing. And so that's the key. You always have to remember what were the things I was doing that were moving the needle forward that I have to continue to do. Don't think because you've made it or you've reached a certain level that you stop, because then your business will die. You will go down. So you always got to keep growing. You always got to keep improving. Now, there are things that you can utilize to free up your time, and it's called leverage. The word's leverage. And you can leverage technology. You can leverage employees, other people, right? And those are the two big levers that you can do as you grow your business to free up your time. And in order to do that, you have to have systems and processes. You have to write down how do I do this job? Make adjustments when you hire somebody. Make sure that they understand that they can make adjustments to that plan, right? Hey, I found a better way, Joe. I think when I started hiring people, I realized, oh my God, I have more brain power. I have people that are smarter in areas than I am. And they helped grow the business through their input. And so encouraging people to speak up, encouraging people to give their opinion, encouraging people to make improvements that you can look at and say, hey, okay, how can this help grow the business? That's a great idea. And I realized when you bring on a team, it's better to use their ideas than your own ideas. Even if it was your idea or you had that idea too, hear their ideas first, because they may come up with the same idea, and it's empowering if you make it their idea that you implemented, rather than say, oh, I thought of that too, let's implement that. No. That's a great idea. Let's implement your idea. And then you empower people, and that's leadership. So
Uh,
those are the
yeah,
key.
carry on.
Yeah. So leverage is key, right? And that's ultimately what frees up your time. But you have to start learning from people who have gone before you, paved the way. And those are mentors. Those are the books. Those are the audios you read. How can I build an 8-figure business? Well, maybe you should learn from somebody who's done it. And luckily for us, we live in an information age where there are books of 8-figure entrepreneurs. There are people that will mentor you that are 8-figure entrepreneurs, and getting around those people to help utilize and utilize them, and they can help you grow your business and avoid making the mistakes that you might have made.
Right, Joey. Talking of mentors, how do you get the right sort of mentors? Is it books are enough, or you need to directly meet people? Because there are a lot of ideas, lots of thoughts also, circulating around you in what you read, on what you see in the social media.
Yeah.
That everyone says, it's a lot of people will say you will get rich the second day. You just need to do something, this. So I want to understand, you are very
Yeah.
young, a lot of young people, how should they look at this whole thing about mentors, and getting the right sort of mentors for whatever they are doing, especially in terms of business?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, because you can get overwhelmed with mentors. I think the first thing is you want to make sure you're getting make sure you have a personal growth plan outside of a mentor, that you're reading, that you're doing those things that are necessary for you to grow. And then look at a mentor and look at your industry. What industry are you in? Are you in the service industry? Are you in the product-based industry? And I would go to a conference within that industry. Go to a networking event within that industry. Start seeing the people that are in those industries, and there will be people that you resonate with, that have the life that you want, that have the business you want, right? Those are the keys. Hey, do they have an 8-figure business? If they don't have an 8-figure business, why, and you want an 8-figure business, why are they mentoring you? Right? If you have a 7-figure business and they have a 7-figure business and they're doing less revenue than you are, then that's probably not a good mentor. Right? I go to the gym every day. I see personal trainers who are out of shape, not or overweight, and they're training people. Like, what? Right? Like, so somebody's going to mentor you. They have to have the fruit on the tree. They have to have the results that you want in order for them to qualify. Because I can say these great things, but if you don't see it in my actions, then I'm probably not somebody that you want to take advice from. And so that would be the biggest thing I would encourage you to do, is not only like find them, but make sure that they have the results that you actually want, right? If somebody's working their ass off and that's not what you want, then why are you there? Why are they mentoring you? Now, if they have the time freedom, financial freedom, the business, and their business runs automated without them having to do a lot of work, and that it's appealing to you, then that's probably the right mentor. So learning to trust your judgment. And I think, our personal development is our lens. And if we grow ourselves, we're going to attract the right things. But if we're not growing, we're kind of desperate. We'll grab onto anything. Oh, he promises this, and we'll grab on. But if we are growing, our glasses become clearer, and we're like, "Ooh, that's who I want." Oh yeah, and you start attracting the right stuff to you, and you'll attract the right mentor. This is why personal growth on your own is so important, because it's your lens which you filter information from.
Absolutely, absolutely, Joy. Well said about this particular aspect. Now, in terms of purpose, a lot of people think the purpose of business or entrepreneurship initially can be like, I want to be my own boss. I will earn money rich, become rich quick. I will be successful. All these things. How do you define your purpose at that point in time, if you have decided that, okay, business is going to be what I want to do, entrepreneurship is what I want to do? Should it be only about becoming your own boss, becoming rich quickly? How should one look at it, especially in today's time?
Well, I think it's, what type of life do you want to live? What kind of time do you want to spend with your family? What kind of freedoms do you want to have? Because your business and your personal life need to be aligned. People say, "Oh, you need a balance." No, no, no. You need to align them. If you can align them, then that's the best thing. So you have to say, what kind of life do I want to live? And then what kind of business do I need to have to live that life, right? And so if I want time freedom and financial freedom, well, okay, I need to build a business that runs without me there. And what does that take? Well, I'm going to need people to help me. I'm going to need to be a good leader. And then I'm going to need to, once I get to a certain level, now I'm going to need to bring on other leaders to replace me as the leader. So now I have to develop leadership within my organization, and I'll get that financial freedom and the time freedom. And then my business will grow without me being in it. And I've made mistakes. I don't want to sit here and sound that I've done it perfect. I've done it horribly. I mean, we've grown a business where where people with $1 million business were more profitable than our multi-million-dollar business, because of the profit margins, because our expenses aligned, and we've had to clean up things and improve the process and learn through trial and error. So I've been there, done it bad. And so this is just me sharing, the experience that I've had. So I didn't do it perfect. I made a lot of mistakes, but hopefully I can help you guys avoid. They have to be aligned. And when you start your own business, it's not your money, it's your business's money. And I say that because as entrepreneurs, we think, oh, we can make more money. No, the business makes more money. And oftentimes in the beginning, you actually make less money. When you consider the business expenses, the taxes, what it takes to grow a business, bringing on new people. A business is an investment. And right. So when you start a business, what I mean by that is you have to keep investing into the business for it to grow into a big business that can eventually take care of you and your family. Because there are taxes, there are big tax expenses. There are investments like hiring people, that's an expense. Hiring the wrong person is an expense. And so you have to prep for that. And you have to realize that it's not your money, it's the business's money. And not and to very differentiate. And I'll say one more thing that's extremely important. If you do not have a personal budget and you are not budgeting as an individual or as a family, you are going to struggle to budget your business. They are aligned. If you cannot budget your own finances, oh my gosh, and you expect that you're going to be able to budget a business, you are not aligned and you will struggle. It wasn't until I learned the value of a personal budget and then it translated into everything. And then my business became way more profitable. I was able to grow at a faster rate. So if you want financial freedom, personal budget, and then work on a business budget as you start your bit. They are aligned. If you aren't living within a budget, you are screwing yourself financially.
Right, right. What about the business podcast you had? Are you still having them, or how did you get into business podcasting?
So business classes, yeah. I mean, so basically, it came from just people saying, "Hey, Joey, can you help me grow my business?" And they would call me, and I would just give them advice. And now I truly want to like help more people, right? I'm fairly young. I'm 35, and I've been blessed to grow a couple businesses and do it successfully. And if you what the stat of how many $1 million businesses there are is like staggeringly low. It's like less than 10% of businesses ever reach the $1 million level. Most businesses fail within the first 5 years. And I didn't look at those stats when I started, right? I didn't know, but if I would have known that in the back of my mind, I probably wouldn't have been as successful because I'd be like, oh, I would have looked at it as a stat. But when you get around the right people, when you listen to the right mentors, you can do it fairly quickly. And actually doing a 7-figure business is really not as hard as you think. It's actually a lot easier. You just need to know what steps to take. You need to have the right people speak into your life. And it's actually very attainable. And you can do it fairly quickly if you have the right people, the right mentors or the right partners. And you can get there very quickly, and not, I was at a conference one time and they said, people always care about who gets what percent if you're partnering in business. And like, when you start nickeling and diming, you are not a growth oriented person. I mean, I was reading that Yahoo could have bought Google for $1 million in 1998. Then they could have sold for $40 billion to another company like years later, and they rejected it. And then they ended up selling for 4.6 because they didn't know that that those two could have helped them grow, right? So partnerships you can go get there a lot further. And the second business I did, I partnered with two people. And we reached the 7-figure level within like a 2-year period. It was very quickly that it happened. And we all made more money because of it, you know? So you can get there quicker. And even though you don't have as big a piece of the pie, you get there a lot quicker and you can make a lot more money with the right partners. So other than doing it yourself. So, don't get greedy. Be choosy, be picky, right? Don't just partner with anybody. And like any partnership, if you do decide to go that route, it's a relationship. Communication is everything. Trust is everything. If you don't have open lines of communication, if you think you can't bring up certain topics, or you have to be able to talk about everything. It has to be transparency is key in a partnership. Um, so that would be my advice, partner. But you have to have, if somebody's hiding things, lying, cheating, that is not the right partner. If people are inconsistent, they say one thing and they don't follow through. Inconsistencies, you don't want to partner with those people. So make sure people are consistent, make sure what they say they do, and just make sure that in the beginning of a partnership, you talk about those things. Hey, I don't want to feel bad if I bring up the finances. Don't think that I think you're hiding anything. I just want to make sure we can have full transparency, and we have an open dialogue, and we're not made to feel guilty if we bring up certain topics. That's huge, right? Again, you learn from experience. So I'm telling you this because I've experienced that, where people, they assume you're doing something wrong, but they don't ask you about it. So then they just talk behind your back. It's not good. You need to be able to bring up certain things. You need to be able to talk. If you don't understand something, hey, could you explain that a little more? Because I didn't understand. And then the best thing you can do is, if you have a meeting, follow up in writing with it about it. Because where AJ may understand something that I said, or I meant to tell you something, you may have interpreted differently.
Right.
That happens all the time. That happens in business all over. Doesn't matter how big or how great the business is, that happens all the time. And so communication is key. Making sure that if you're discussing important topics in a meeting, in a virtual meeting, in a phone conversation, that you're following up in writing, because things slip, people forget, it's just how it is. And you just got to make sure communication is key.
Absolutely. Lots of learning here about entrepreneurship and mindset here, Joy. And I'm sure a lot of people would want to learn more from you, and also tie up with you in case that works out for them. So, what is the best way for them to connect with you, Joy?
So joeydonofrio.com. They can go to joeydonofrio.com. They can find me on Instagram at joeydonofrio_. Those would be the best ways. DM me, message me. I have a couple businesses. I help businesses. I have mentorship programs, and I'm releasing a virtual assistant class. So if your overhead costs are very high, like mine were for years, we help people get virtual assistants in their business, and pay a fraction of the cost. As an example, we just hired 4 virtual assistants that are running one of my businesses' office. So they replaced an office staff. And in the United States, one person, the minimum salary you can pay them is just over $36,000 a year. I hired 4 people, 4 highly trained people, highly educated, for that same amount. So I replaced one person with 4, and I'm paying them the same prices I would pay one. So valuable things like that I can just steer and guide. And, my job is to make you more profitable and to help you grow. And if I can't do that, then that's a problem. So I have the resources to help you with that. And that's ultimately my goal. I want you to be more profitable and be more successful, and be able to hire people and give people a better life, right? And including yourself. So that's my goal.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.